Ladies and gentlemen, you are now listening to the Talking Nonsense About Impact Wrestling podcast. Cross the line in 3, 2, 1.
What is going on, everyone? Welcome, my Impact fam, to episode 100 of the Talking Nonsense About Impact Wrestling podcast.
We made it.
Looks like we made. Yeah, we'll save you from the poor singing, but we got a lot to talk about. Obviously, most importantly, alongside me, as always, again, is the Tom code of my AJ Styles. Got to go bring it full circle. It's Max, everybody. What's going on, buddy?
Was that the very first one that we did? Was I the Tom code of your AJ Styles?
It was
on episode 1.
I don't know. It's not on YouTube, but I believe I'm sure somewhere it is.
It might have. There's a strong possibility that might have been the comparison you used on our episode 1 of our old podcast, possibly. I don't have that saved either, but we're just gonna pretend like it was. So it's just bringing it all. Well, I'd prefer to be the AJ Styles, but everybody knows that. One day.
So, guys, we're going to try and make this work. Hey, T. Hughes, 1990, as always. What's going on, buddy? We hope you guys are joining us now live. We hope the chat fills up, but even if it doesn't, thank you for watching this whenever you are. We're excited to be here. It's been quite a journey in the world of Impact Wrestling. As Max said before, we had a prior one about all wrestling, and then when we got back to doing it, we did Impact Wrestling. You could see some changes here. I'm going to go into that just for a second. The new logo for the channel. We still love Impact Wrestling. The shows will remain the same, but we're going to add some new stuff too. Look, I talk about mental health here all the time. I'm 50 other things before TNAIW guy, and I could use some friends, and I can use talking to one about other things, including the New York Knicks. So we're going to have a show about that as well. We'll talk about day as it comes, but no matter if we suck or not, we're excited to do it and be together again and have some fun.
No matter what, still better than the Nets.
New Jersey. All right, guys. So, obviously it took a lot for us to get to 100. What's up, Millard? There, Max. I don't know if you can see. It's wicked small.
Hello, I cannot. It just looks like scribbles to me.
He said, "Must not be a AW or WWE show on today."
Well, G1 Climax is going on, but that happens early in the morning. I get that out of the way.
Fair enough. But yeah, no, there's a lot of people who've had a hand in our success, I say, because we're still here at least doing this. We didn't expect, big numbers. That's not what we're here for. It's two friends trying to talk about a company that we've loved for quite a bit and used to get together every Thursday and every other day when we lived in the same state. So to be continue doing that and back to this, we're excited. We're trying to up the connection here in the internet. We're trying to get that better, so bear with us. But we're going to try to pause and not overtalk each other because we never do that. But Max, the most important question is, what are you looking forward to talking about today, man?
Well, I am super excited that I got to see Bullet Club wrestle, and Chris Bay didn't eat a pin. The man had been taking some L's lately, so I was happy that. And we're going to see some Undead Realm, a little bit of craziness there. There was probably...
Yeah.
And some Bhupinder Gujjar, a little bit of finisher talk from him.
All right, so we'll get to that. We're going to feel out the new show. As you guys can see under episode 100, it's a little different of a setup here. It's more of a just kind of us having some fun talking about things. And normally here would be Power Rankings, which still is in one way. But it's a hot one here in New York. It's really hot. Thunderstorms coming, and it's getting frustrated. So I didn't do it, but we will finish it. We'll talk about them in just a second. We'll finish them for Turbo Tuesday. GoGoPowerRankings, Datila and Bert still killing it, man. Numbers are great. They're having fun. The chemistry is building there. Ooh, I didn't mean it like that, but it's a good time. Check it out. They'll talk about it. The whole works will be there. So I'm going to run down the power rankings, but most importantly, if you guys want to make an impact on the power rankings, God, it's going to be a punny day. Shout out to Kyle Villarama, I hope I'm saying that right, buddy, for joining their newest addition to the Power Rankings committee. It's really simple, at Burt Macklin 11, at TNAIW channel. Write us one way or another. Io, speak of people we would not be here without. shout out to Io in there. But yeah, tweet us. Speak of the devil, there you go. Tweet us one or the other. Join it. It's really simple. Keep us on mute if you want. You don't have to talk in the chat. And every Thursday after the show, just put your top 10. It's that simple. But Max, we're going to go down the top 10 the old-fashioned way. Starting with number 10, it's someone that you just mentioned. Bullet Club, Tag Team Champions, and such. Taking the L, still at number 10.
I mean, they did lose. Unfortunately, when you add Chris Bay and his long losing streak in there, I think it drags down the whole group. If we split them, they may do a little better. But
as a commodity.
As a commodity, 10 works.
Here's another shocker. We'll run through these. Number 9, Jordan Grace, world champion Jordan Grace at number 9. Number 8, the undefeated Masha Slamovic. Slamovic or Slamovich? What would you say, Max?
I think it's Slamovich.
Slamovich. According to Lucha, it's Slamobitch. Which
See, that sounds good, but Slamovic doesn't, so I'm going with Slamovich. There
Unless
you
you
go.
get that lighter money. Number 7, Tag Team Champions. We already mentioned Undead Realm. We'll talk about that extensively, it looks like. Team Ragnarok. Number 6, X Division Champion, who was number 1 last week. Mike Bailey coming in at number 6. Steve Macklin back up there. I know they'll be happy on the GoGoPowerRankings team. Number 4, Chelsea Green. Hot mess, Chelsea Green. Number 3, Motor City Machine Guns, possibly number 1 contender. Well, one of them will be. Number 2, Honor No More and PCO. And number 1, back to being number 1, world champion Josh Alexander.
This is my first episode back, but the world champion should always be number 1. The disrespect when Kenny Omega was champion, it's just horrible. Man could barely get ranked.
That is true. It is true, and I think we've adjusted the system a little. We've adjusted the hate, but it's got a nice balance. I respect it. Won't go too far into it, but look out for them on Tuesday to do so. So no surprises there. I think there's a lot of people you could have voted for, but we'll get right into that now and how we got, or maybe how they got there by getting on Impact on Access TV. Hit up the review board here. What did you guys think of Impact? We'll talk about the poll results, our biggest number yet for poll votes, so thank you for that. But getting to the review. BTI, we started out with Bhupinder Gujjar and defeated Johnny Swinger. This one has hopefully DMC, what is it called? Ramifications?
Title implications?
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, man. Look, the DMC's headed in a route I'm not a big fan of. I don't want to rely on the gimmick. It doesn't have to be on BTI to be represented. We've always been hoping this could be what was the Legends and the TV and the King of the Mountain, all those mistakes, lack of a better term. But it doesn't seem like they're headed in that route if Gujjar is the next opponent here.
Now, I don't mind using BTI to set up number 1 contenders because it gives you a reason to watch BTI if you're like, oh, the contenders are coming through this. But I agree, it needs to be that mid-tier title. Like, if this was Ace Austin versus, Eddie Edwards for a shot at the DMC, well, then that's all I'm going to watch BTI now. So I feel like that would be a smart way to do it, but I don't.
And you mentioned at the beginning, do you want to? Are you hoping to see a Gargoyle Spear 1, 2, 3?
My love for the 450 Splash is equal to my hate for that atrocious ass finisher. It's got a good name.
Yes,
the Gargoyle Spear. That's a good name, solid name, but horrible move because it's not even a top rope move where he puts somebody down and has distance. Right. He doesn't have any distance. So basically, if you stand up and don't stumble towards him, it's just a bet. Just go with. I understand. Moose uses a spear, so we can't have that. Just pick something different.
Yeah, man. Well, look, I like the prospect of Gujjar, man. Gujjar. I apologize, but we liked how he came in. We respect. We like that route. We like the different approach to an Indian wrestler. Dope. They talked about his kickboxing. We talked about that. So it built him up as a Indian hero compared to just Indian guy. So I liked it a lot. I think he has a lot of potential. but you could tell he's at tough enough level. Samoan drop. Drop, the moves are what they are. So I think, the only problem I have with it, besides the DMC and what level that will be at or looked at because of it, is the pushing of him as if he's the next AJ Styles. Like, you could talk about it. I love Tom Hannafan. You could talk about how people are talking about how this guy has, whatever potential, but ain't buying what you're selling, my friend. Ain't buying what you're selling. Keep going here. We started with a main event, to be honest. I mean, if you look at Josh Alexander and Motor City Machine Guns defeating VBD, kind of washing us clean of that storyline, coming full circle, which I think is important. And then moving on to that moment with Sabin and Josh. Hey, I told you about Option C. We thought they would go there. I think we talked about it in the Impact Zone last week. But yeah, I thought this was a great way to start the show, especially if you don't watch BTI. Like, this is what you start with. So, next up, we had another Killer Kelly vignette. We've talked about her extensively as well. And we'll talk about the Impact Zone as well. Hey, Datila, welcome. We'll talk about that in the future of what we're going to do with that. And it's still around, don't worry. But we talked about her. And we think she's a great addition. We think she's coming in solo, which we like. But we do have a question on the Hot Topics segment from somebody, so we want to save a little bit to talk about her for that. So moving on, we had Steve Macklin defeating James Storm. It was Young Gun beating the veteran twice back-to-back here, because we'll be talking about Chelsea and Mickey right after that. But overall thoughts on where Macklin's... I know obviously you've been keeping it obviously updated, but still...
Yeah. I think James Storm is a good win for him. James Storm is someone who always comes off as credible, so it's not like, who is this guy? James Storm, he carries name value. I thought it was a good win for Macklin. I think we're moving towards Macklin and Sammy, possibly, is what it looks like. So I think that's going to be an exciting feud. I'm happy that Macklin is getting these bigger moments. I think that's key. He's growing to the point where, unfortunately, if the DMC was what we wished it would be perfect for him to hold it and be that transitional, like that mid-card champion, and this would be his, springboard after. But I think he's doing really well. I think he's growing. I like him a lot. I like the character.
Yeah, I agree, man. And he's nailed it since he came in here, man. I think this was a test for him. Obviously James Storm hasn't been in the grind of wrestling, these past couple of years as much as as he normally has been prior. But this was a test for him to not carry a veteran, but see what you can do against these bigger names. Next looks to be Sammy, and I'm stoked about that. We have to mention that it was pretty cool that Macklin was the first person, I think, to kind of evade, or have a plan for when Sammy would do that, which I thought was pretty cool. I thought it was pretty cool for that. Next was the Ric Flair flashback moment of the week, man, and this was I get it. Let's cash those checks, but boy, seeing that moment made red and yellow abyss.
It wasn't the high point of Impact at that time. I like Ric Flair. I do. He's obviously an icon.
Right, sure.
I'm ready for him to be gone though. Like it's he needed to retire, at least from the ring. Like your final match should have been 5 years ago, man. Like it's at this point I'm concerned about him, but
I think it should have been him versus Michaels, right? The actual retirement.
I mean, that would have been the ideal situation, but he did. I mean,
but they, so the Starcast can't come soon enough. Yeah, man, it's cool to see this. It was a shock when it first had it. It's a little surreal, and look, putting things aside, you can't. Ric Flair is Ric Flair. And it doesn't excuse it, but he's still Ric Flair. And it's not so much that I'm, like, ugh. It's just, it's red and yellow abyss.
Yeah.
The song, the mustard ketchup stain jersey or whatever the hell he was wearing. The ring, it literally was the Hall of Fame ring thing. So, let's move on there. Coach D backstage there, Scott D'Amore with Motor City Machine Guns, and they make it official. We had debated prior if them having a match meant there was going to be a time splitter. What route are we going? This obviously opens it up. Not that they're going to bicker over this, but at the same time, one of them, and we are spoiler free still. This is a spoiler free show. One of them is advancing to Emergence in the main event.
Correct, and it gives the other a chance to do something different.
Correct. Now, we can say the writing's on the wall, especially with Kushida coming in, of who wins this, spoiler-free. Yet again, we really do not know. At least I do not. But the money seems to be in Saban. Not that Shelley versus Josh wouldn't be a fucking banger. That
just seems to be the match that makes the most sense. With him kind of telling him about option C. The story is better there, I think.
Yeah. Shout out to Lucha in the building. Yeah, man, I think this makes a lot of sense, especially with him and doing option C, telling him you've done everything you need in the next division to be one of the greats. Move on. So it comes full circle, to use that phrase again. Next up, we alluded to it. Chelsea Green, the hot mess, defeated Mickie James. You knew this kind of stuff was coming when they talked about what they wanted to do while they were in the E, kind of a Trish to Mickie, then Mickie to Chelsea kind of thing, and then boy, it happened, and the people were excited. Everyone, Jesus, your thoughts on the match, man? Big win for Chelsea here. Mickie, we could jump around really quick. Looks like Gia caught up with her later. She said she's left the building with that big ass suitcase, runaway suitcase. Thoughts on that whole thing?
I mean, it was a good match. I enjoyed it. I think they're a good feud. They've, through everything, that feud has been a solid feud the way it's built in the past, with them being friends and now. But I mean, I thought it was a good match. I saw some people act like it was the greatest match of all time. And I don't know if I'd go that far, but I mean, it was a solid match. I think I like Chelsea. I'm more excited to see her in a tag team now than in a singles match. So that kind of dulls a little bit for me, because I'm like, all right, let's get your ass in a tag team. Let's do this. That's what I want.
Right.
I'm ready for that.
Yeah, and I get that. And for me, it was, I'm going to go back and watch it because I enjoyed it while I watched that. I don't want anything to say just because we say it's solid or good means it wasn't as good as people were saying. I want to go back and clean slate and watch it. The crowd loved it. I think that adds a definite boost to any match. So, that helped the cause. And then I see TNAIW there. This was probably Chelsea's best match ever. I don't know, man. I as far as, what goes to Max's saying here, I think it was important, though, to have this best match ever. Because now, even though I don't think there was a question, per se, her and Deonna look even more formidable.
Correct. They look evenly matched. There's not a Shawn Michaels and a Jannetty.
Correct.
I thought the ending was well done to protect Mickie and give you the possibility of, if they want to come back, you can. The foot on the ropes. It was well done. I mean, she sometimes the foot on the rope thing, the ref's looking right at it and is and just looks away. This one was well done. I can't be 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure from what I remember, he was looking at the shoulder, so it wasn't something where he just ignored the foot. It was smooth. It was well. It was a good match.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'd say best match ever, but then again, I can't think of every single match I've ever seen her in. Right?
Yeah, so. Yeah, and I think some of her work is underrated as well. I think that's where we gotta start place. But I'm getting excited because the next one up here, Max, is the Undead Realm. We love us some Undead Realm, some nonsense. But this one was a little different, a little production there, a little bit of a tight shot with some, through the woods background, and then into the light. What are your thoughts on this?
This was great. From Taya being like, sorry, I had to get my whole outfit ready to do this thing. I thought that was great.
Evil.
Yeah, that was good. Rosemary kind of going there and then giving this long spiel as Taya's like, oh look, a bright light, I'm gonna go there. And then she talks about how it's a clean set. I'm gonna decorate a little this here, little this here. That was fun. It was overall, it was funny. it's the type of stuff that I don't want to say you watch Impact for, but when something like that is on Impact, just like what was the first ever cinematic match? I don't think it was, or maybe
It was
was
the Hardy stuff.
Ultimate
Yeah.
Deletion.
Yeah.
But there was one after that they did. I want to say where it was like outside of the arena. That was also, you were like, or even
After the Hardys.
yeah, it was one after. I was like the first one, like right after the Hardys left, they did another cinematic
Yeah.
match.
Steiner and like there was clips where there was like or moments like Steiner and Jeremy Borash versus
It might have been that
or Matthews versus whatever that match was.
Yeah, but like things like that when you did, and I know Ethan Page hated it, but him versus the crowd, like things like that are to me. You may not watch Impact for them, but when you watch them, you're like, this is really well done.
Yeah.
Like this is it's something that's different that other companies have now kind of stolen it and begun to do, and I just think Impact does it better than anyone.
No, I agree. I think it's one of those things that we talked about the Impact survey that went out, and
it was Park. Someone said
Joe Park, yes, Steiner and Josh versus Joseph Park and JB. Thank you, Lucha. There's been times where production hasn't caught up to, and I mean production in the sense of budget, and figuring things out when this new crop came in. But I think over time they've kind of figured out the niche to it. I honestly would look forward to a Wrestle House coming back, especially with the new toys and production value that they've seemed to add here. And what's also important here is like less is more, and we don't get this all the time, which is not my thing. I would always love one segment of something of this nature, Swingers Palace, something that shows their creative, funny side, there. But when it's always you're trying to make that your lifeboat, it doesn't work. No, it works perfectly here because it's funny. It was worked out, and the end result I haven't talked about yet is in the light. Havoc is now Jessica, which is very similar, eerily similar to something we've been talking about on the Impact Zone Max, who also went to the light and had a kind of a perky Susie-like thing, right? So Su Yung and Susie, you go into the light. Same with Havoc here being Jessica. I think what we're doing here, and I keep seeing a lot of people, or some people here talking about Chelsea and Deanna eventually going for the tag. I do, and I think they're the only ones that can justifiably take the belt off Team Ragnarok. I mean, them are two former Knockout champions, two legends in the Knockouts division, and let alone in wrestling, and with Taya and Rosemary. So I think that's the next evolution. I can see Tasha and Savannah getting there. I think the Knockouts tag is aiming towards to be the best it's been since the jump. But in the shuffle here, so I think what we're doing though is you got two established teams there. Havoc and Sue, I think, is another one that just has to happen. It makes too much sense. The Susie thing, the Jessica thing, I think that's where they're going. So then you have three prominent tag teams, let alone the Influence, who are just waiting for Madison to get back. So bravo to them, man. And the Undead Realm is always a nice palate cleanser. Might have been the highlight of the night for me.
And the more they do the Undead Realm, the more possibility it is that other people, if they show up, hey, don't know what Kira's doing.
Yeah.
Maybe she pops up in there for little things, just little things that you can do there that are funny. So
yeah, and you never know which Dark Order member will just show up in the hallways. So let's keep moving on so we definitely get to the hot topics as well. Then next they showed the 2008-2013 footage advert. I think this is important to mention because it's a topic that people talked about. I think someone was trying to hint to us what this announcement was going to be, but I won't say that. But either way, we were excited for it to happen, and it looks like, if I'm not mistaken, every week they're updating more and more for every month or whatever it is. We've talked about this exclusive extensively. There we go. Exclusive, though, with Michael Cavaccini was my point, who you'll see around a lot more. One of those people that we wouldn't be here without as well, writing the 20th year anniversary book for Impact Wrestling. Or is writing one about Impact Wrestling. Make sure to word that right. But we had talked about him all the time. Like, that was the question we had, and I think he did as well. When the video library, what was the thing? Why is it taking so long? And he gave us a very easy answer, just time and workforce. And I'm glad we're getting to a point where, and these are the things we'll talk about where people say, oh, they don't put money into things. Man, there's a time the Undead Realm was literally shot with one light in a fucking gymnasium with, you remember, like with people with shitty, okay, so these little big things that are happening, show up in stuff like this. So pretty cool to see that they're investing in that. Gives you a reason to get that app. I still have it for, just to be kind.
Are they going to put this stuff on YouTube as well?
I think that's going to be the catch, right? You get it. I think that's what makes you get the app.
I feel like they should just put it all on YouTube. I'd rather them just focus on that and then unfortunately phase the app out.
Yeah, but I think money. They're still getting from jokes like me who still want to help the company.
Yeah.
But what's cool, and this might be, we always talk about doing review shows and stuff and whatever. That'd be a cool era to do because it was kind of the first time we started watching wrestling together in that 2009, 2008, somewhere around there. 2010, 2000, yeah.
Yeah, right around there.
Yeah, maybe a little bit.
I'm trying to think how old I was. Yeah, that fits. 2009, 2010.
Yeah. All right. Sell or share the app to Paramount. Yeah, I think eventually the long-term plan of this is to sell to somebody else.
I would love for them to be on Paramount. That would be phenomenal.
Yeah. Next up was BTI Flashback. Myers and Gujar are kind of just hashing it up. Obviously, we're going to get that DMC championship match soon. DM championship. Masha Slamovich is still undefeated, defeating Tennille Dashwood right here. Little dissension, meh. But I think that's the play is stall until Giselle finds not in real life finds something else, but in the show. Keep Manning going to lose. And next up, Mike Bailey talking about his attack after his match with Alan Angels. And I like the continuity here. I like they were not just saying, oh, Joe Doring and Diener beat the shit out of them last week. No response. Here's the response.
Yeah.
The response is, hey, if in the wild, wild west that is Impact Wrestling, Max, if you beat the shit out of somebody when they're not looking, get a title match. So
hey, why not?
Okay.
I'm pretty sure that's how most wrestling stuff happens. I don't like you, I'll make a title match. Why the hell not?
Man, it's fuck it. It works. And that's not one of those head scratcher moments. I bring it up to joke. I like it because it fits Bailey. And that's Bailey's thing. You want to attack me from behind? I will have a match with you. Like, that's all you have to do.
I mean, people make their own matches in wrestling all the time. Like, AEW has a ranking system. Mm-hmm. FDR has been number one for like 6 months. And the Young Bucks just magically made a title match with Team Taz and Swerve and I want to call him Keith Lee. They're like, fuck those guys. We're ranked 1. We don't like you. We'll do this. Like, it's just what wrestling does.
It's just
so
pro wrestling.
The way it's always happened.
Pro wrestling. If you want to make a AEW show at Max,
hey,
let's keep it moving. Next up was what we already mentioned. Mickie James has left the building. I think it, gives her a refresh as she does her other stuff, NWA and such, and lives a life. And then last but not least, Heath attacks, taking out Vincent, but Honor No More still defeats the Bullet Club. How fucking cool are the Bullet Club together? Honor No More, I know eventually the inevitable happens, but yeah.
So I was torn here. Obviously, I love me some Bullet Club. They're my number one favorite faction in all of wrestling. That includes the people in WWE who pretend to be part of Bullet Club but really aren't. But Honor No More had to win at some point. Like, I felt like they were taking some L's. I feel like there's so much potential with that group, with the Kingdom, with Kenny King, with Eddie Edwards, to really go there and really even Vincent potentially to technically you could say challenge for every single belt.
Yeah.
And I feel like they needed a win here. Once again, I was sad Bullet Club lost, but I was happy Chris Bay did not eat the pin like he has so many times in a row. But I don't think the man has won in like 3 months.
Well, yes, but I think they're once again. Sometimes it's not booking out of stupidity. Oh, we forgot about Chris Bay. Sometimes it's.
Yeah, no, but I mean, when he's teamed with Jay White, you're not gonna have Jay Whitey to pin.
Yeah,
So
and he's being positive, and it, maybe that win changes his mindset. But I root for this kid, man. It's funny that the comparison we've made since whatever, obviously you could say that Josh is the angle because obviously the comparison's there, but he's the Joe of what was to us. We say that AJ is the Ace is the AJ, and Daniels is Bay. And for Daniels and AJ to tag together, and now Bay, and it just fits, man. They're on a good path, especially with the time splitters coming in and all these other things, possibilities.
Yeah,
I'm really excited.
We don't know what's happening with the Good Brothers. We'll talk about that later on. But if they end up leaving, it makes perfect sense for Bay and Ace to team up and basically fill their void as Bullet Club tag team, or as the Bullet Club tag team,
right,
in Impact. If
how do you switch
or if Good Brothers are going to be kind of in and out for a period, it's hey, we want to have a number one tag team from the okay, cool, it's you two now. So it'll be interesting to see. I like them both. I think they look good together as a group. I think that's a good 4 guys to have. So
yeah, I hope that's not a spoil in there. Once again, spoiler free. But yeah, man, I think they can go for anything. And we've talked about extensively in the Impact Zone. The team is literally depth in every facet. And I know we'll answer that about who we think will be going, where Bound for Glory will be held, but as well as who is in the main event. We'll talk about that in the hot topics. But that was the show, Max. I want to know overall what you thought about it. For me, honestly, I think it really felt, and this is actually a good and bad thing I have, an up and a down. It's 5 weeks to Emergence. You knew a wrestling-filled filler show to where we end the old stuff, begin the new was going to happen. This was it. There was a lot of wrestling. I love wrestling, unfortunately. Fortunately, so stoked to be that. They're stoked for it to be that. At the same time, it was definitely that. It was a show that had some cool things in it and some really good matches. Overall, I don't know, a B? I was on the B in the B world.
Yeah, I'd probably go B+, maybe A-.
Yeah.
I thought I do agree with you, ending some of the feuds with the VBD and Josh. And they did. They ended some, started some new things. I feel like we've seen the Bullet Club versus, I don't know, more a bunch. So maybe this ends that.
Right.
Who knows? But I feel but you do start some things. You start Macklin and Sammy. You start Speedball versus potentially VBD. You kind of introduce some of the underground stuff. So it was kind of a start and stop.
A transitional.
Yeah,
episode.
but I think I give it a B+, A-. It was a very good show, but it was very wrestling heavy, which isn't a bad thing.
No, I don't think so either. I think it's just that it's very it's harder to be liked by. I don't know. I just feel like a lot of people only come for sometimes the results. So or what happened? Oh, nothing changed. Oh God.
Yeah, people want to see progression.
Correct.
And that kind of tail end of a storyline and the fresh start of a storyline aren't always the most exciting parts of it. So
yeah, that's a good point. Burt Macklin 11. Hey, what's up, Burt? That the show still made an impact. Yeah, no, I agree. I would have said B Realm. Really, some really good matches in it. I mean, it literally began and ended with a main event in my eyes. But you guys rated it once again highest number, almost 100. I think definitely past 70 something. But either way, 44% with an A, and B 39%. With 9 for C and 9 for D. I don't know if that D is for douche, so I don't know if that's a real vote. I never know. The C I could understand. Not that it, in my eyes, was it, but or it was, but whatever. People have their opinion. Max, do you agree with this? Is this kind of a general consensus of?
I do. I feel like our numbers are off. Hold on.
I don't know.
That's 101%. I'm looking at it. I'm like, there's no way.
Hey man, that's what Twitter gave me. I got a screenshot.
I'm like, there's no way 44. I was like, something doesn't seem right there. I was like,
They rounded up, I
looking at
imagine.
it. I guess so. I'm gonna assume there was only 8% of people thought it was a D.
There you go.
I don't know, but either way, I was looking. I was like, I feel like that's off. But no, I agree with that. I mean, if you really like wrestling, I think you're gonna like wrestling as in like in-ring wrestling. And I definitely think it's an A show for you. If you don't, if you're kind of like, okay, if you said maybe a little bit heavy like we'd, I think B. The C and D, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Who knows what those two.
But either way, thank you guys for voting. You could do, and if you want to be shouted out, just comment underneath. I know Gary does it. Buddy Gary always does it. Quote tweets us and quote tweets us. I can't get my words out. All right. God, it's hot. All right, Max. Let's get into some more nonsense here.
Okay.
Hot topics. So hot topics, guys, for future here on out is going to be deciphered by you. You write us, you comment us, you tweet us, whatever it is. If you have a question for us, we will put it up here. We'll answer it. We'll make it about what you guys want us to answer compared to what we want you to fucking listen to. But let's go to the first one. It's a return of our buddy Metal Lazy 25. We got a couple from him, and we talked a little bit in detail. But as always, guys, it's not about having the same opinion. It's about, coming right at each other, having a conversation, and still being pro wrestling, pro Impact Wrestling. And, so we obviously aren't going to agree on this, but we'll see what he says. I think Grace should retain the KO title versus Mia, and have it be Grace versus Masha at Bound for Glory. I cannot read today. But if they think it's too early for Masha to be KO champ, I hope they don't have Kelly and Masha face each other like they did with Frost and Shaw, which I thought slowed momentum for both. It's all fair points. I think the end game for me is Grace versus Masha at Bound for Glory. I actually don't even want Masha to win that. I think it doesn't hurt her character to finally be up against someone who's an equal. And that's sometimes the better story. And then in regards to Frost and Shaw, we've talked about this. I liked it because we'll take the backstage stuff out of it because we don't know when the rift there came with her and Impact. Not rift, but the point where she checked out, or wanted to, whatever. I thought it was a good route. You bring these two people you establish as newcomers with a little bit of push behind them. They go back and forth, kind of like, dare I say, Booker, Benoit, those kind of best 7-man matches. And I thought it was going to end up somewhere good, but obviously real world stuff comes into play here, I think.
Yeah, I feel like the Frost and Shaw stuff slowed momentum because at some point, and nothing wrong with this lady, Frost wasn't happy with where she was at.
Right.
And then they kind of slowed from there. But I think that I still think there was eventually originally plans for them to be a tag team, and that kind of fell through. And I think had that happened, I don't think we would have thought, this slowed momentum. We would have been like, this built into something really good, a really good tag team. So
yeah, and I think the payoff would have been them coming close to winning. They lose and one turns on each other. Then you have another program with them with already matches where they're familiar with each other and have some chemistry. So. Anyways, it didn't come to fruition. Sometimes just because it doesn't come to fruition doesn't mean that wasn't the plan from the jump. Sometimes shit happens. Next up, glad Josh has finally moved on from VBD. 5 weeks, brother. 5 weeks. I think the Goof Brothers, possibly leaving would be a good thing since they didn't improve viewership. They weren't nearly as good in the ring as some fans thought, nor were they entertaining. Big thumbs down from me, Max. I'll let you hit that one, and I'll touch on points that if you happen to miss them, which I doubt you will. But why the hate? Why the hate for the Good Brothers? He answers that.
So I love me some Good Brothers. Carl Anderson is also never openweight champion, so clearly New Japan Pro Wrestling loves them some Good Brothers too. And who am I to argue with them? But when they first came in, they were here for like a week and a half, and the world shut down.
Yeah,
and that was and when there was no fans at all, that was a rough time for wrestling. It was hard to watch. Yeah. Even when WWE did that Terror Dome thing with all the video screens. That was even better because at least you saw some reaction.
Right.
So to me, I don't think you can put the viewership thing. I mean, as much as I love Kenny Omega, he did improve viewership a bit, but for the most part at this point, I don't think there's a single wrestler that you're going to sign that is going to consistently increase viewership week in and week out.
Yeah.
Even with AEW, they signed CM Punk. Big jump, then things kind of came down and settled. Like, it's at this point, if you don't like Impact, nobody they sign is going to get you to all of a sudden be like, well, heck, man, 500,000 people all of a sudden now decided we're going to tune into Impact because they signed outside of Jesus coming back and being signed to Impact Wrestling. Like, there's just no one out there. Even someone like Roman Reigns, John Cena, those people will tune in for a bit and then they'll be like, this isn't for me. This is why I don't watch it. I think they're great for Impact. I think they've done a lot of good things. I think clearly you watch them at what is it? What's the comedy thing with Sex Ferguson and Chad? But that, they clearly enjoy doing stuff like that. They've been willing to take losses when needed. So they're not somebody who, to me, seems like their ego is getting in the way of what's going on. Yeah. And obviously, they've helped repair a relationship with New Japan that we never thought was going to be anything. Yeah. We now have Chris Bay and Ace Austin and Bullet Club. Ace Austin went over to New Japan and performed amazing in Best of Super Juniors. So I think overall signing them was awesome. I do think that you will see them go over and do a run in New Japan because I think that's just natural where they want to be. Yeah. But it wouldn't surprise me if after that they come back and then they split time between the two.
Yeah, and you know, I always talk about it. The ratings are what they are. Max just got a box. I'm sure Impact's ratings will go up 20,000 next week. So
no, I don't have access TV. I gotta watch on YouTube.
So okay, never mind. But the point is that the system is 100 years old. They're trying to make it better, but does it garner something? It does. Does it matter to some advertisers? Of course, yes. I'm not going to deny that. The point is, though, is they wouldn't keep the lights on if there wasn't a reason to keep the lights on. So they're obviously pleased with the viewership they are getting, either through YouTube money, through Access TV. Well, obviously they own it, but you know what I mean? Like, so I don't think viewership was really the intention of the Good Brothers coming in.
Yeah. Is Anthem happy? That's all that matters.
Right. And are we happy watching the product with them on it? And I think that, there's been some patches. We could say that. But, you said it yourself. It's one of your favorite segments. I think the main thing is does Rocky Romero and does New Japan rebuild that bridge? Now, Scott did go over there before the Good Brothers even came to Impact, or were a thought about that, at least. But at the same time, I think they've had a huge part in a lot of things that, I don't... They have they're intertwined with Impact, and they do a good job of promoting and helping Impact behind the scenes as well. I think we can't deny that. I think sometimes, I don't know how to say it, because I think they still have it in the ring. I think, even though they're dicking around about it.
Unfortunately, and I'm not saying this is what he's doing, but right now the cool thing to do in the IWC is shit on the Good Brothers.
Right.
Like, they're really not that good. But, I mean, I think I still, like, their match against the Briscoes was good. Yeah. Like, it's, so.
I think it's just the eye of beholder. I think if you don't like them, you don't like them. You're going to shit on them. You're going to shit on them either way. I've said it multiple times. I think the key to Impact growing is the same as professional wrestling growing. It's not, tribalistic shitting on each other. It's inclusion. And the fact that you guys dislike the Good Brothers for... And that's another thing, we could talk about is they're at least here for the summer. If not longer. I think Max is right as far as going to Japan, coming here, splitting things there. We've went into the Impact Zone, and talked about that, a lot. I was going to say extensively again. So I won't touch on it too much. I just think that, they're grateful for each other, and I don't think the money they're making is breaking the bank. Like, the idea that we couldn't sign Buddy Matthews, or we couldn't sign Tony Storm because of the money, or Keith Lee. Could that be one thing? Sure. At the same time, they're leaving WWE. They want to be on the biggest platform to say F you to their former employee. And it is what it is.
Let's be realistic. I love me some Buddy Matthews since he was Blake and Murphy. But I would take Ace and Chris in Bullet Club, Ace in Best of Super Juniors, the relationship with New Japan, Switchblade and Impact, doing programs in Impact, over a Buddy Matthews. Like
Kenny Omega?
Kenny,
not that saying that they're responsible for all of it, but
you don't know. They're clearly friends with those people.
Right.
They have a relationship, so it's you never quite know what holds things together. What are the strings that really keep everything together? So,
right. And another thing is, I don't think there's been a single complaint about them in the locker room, which I think Impact is one of their specialties is having, from what it seems, a pretty family, group oriented locker room. So if it wasn't worth the money to them, they wouldn't give them the money. But let's move on to our buddy Chris Zelita here. Back to the Good Brothers, so perfect transition. It's pretty clear most of us know they're committed to working Wrestle Kingdom come January, and they're going to bounce back and forth between the two companies. That's what we're saying here. I think we agree. Yeah.
Yeah.
One more for him. I'm still sold on the Briscoes sticking around. It would be nice if the BFG series does make a return leading to Bound for Glory. And as far as free agents, Kelly did like a tweet of mine, which also mentions Dakota Kai. And I've thrown some lobs to Speedball about Gargano. Yeah, man. I think there's still some game changers out there in the small sense. Obviously there's some bigger ones now with still Bray, but, allegedly Naomi and Sasha.
I think he's going back to WWE.
You think so?
Yeah, they've been running some vignettes that seem to point to it. I think he's going back there. But no, Naomi and Sasha, but Sasha's charging $30,000 for an appearance, man.
Hey, man, I'd pay it. As far as this goes, Briscoes, I agree with you. They're obviously advertised for after the ROH show. It was Starcast as well. I think that Impact has opened their arms to them and have given a spot in the family to them. If they choose, that's the route they go. That's another thing we have to remember. And when we're just talking about the free agents, is what did they want? What do the free agents want? It's not really just an Impact make an effort. It's So I think the Impact is making an effort with the Briscoes. I think the Briscoes see it. We'll see if it all adds up. As far as Bound for Glory series, it's something we mentioned. I think it would be awesome because we can all agree that it is one of the more talked about glaring issues, or I don't even know if it's an issue. I don't like where we're at per se, but I'm not pitchforking for it. But your thoughts on a Bound for Glory series returning and the possible people? I mean, it can make a lot of people.
Yeah, I like the Bound for Glory series because it does give you some. From that, you can create new feuds, new rivalries based off of how things go. Right. It instantly gives you a Bound for Glory main event, and you don't have to come up with a storyline or a reason. Why is he wrestling him? Well, he's wrestling him because he won the Bound for Glory series. Right. So I like it. I think it's a good way to set up who. It's like Royal Rumble. Like it's a good way to set up who gets there, and then you can always create a feud from who's winning until Bound for Glory. So I like it a lot. I think it would be an interesting way to set things up. I would love for someone like Ace Austin to main event at Bound for Glory. I think that would be amazing.
Yeah. Well, let's bring this up here. Because Best Side 92, I do like how they're giving Kelly a character instead of her just being an MMA wrestler, which we have seen a lot in pro wrestling in recent years. Who do you think Josh will face at Bound for Glory? So we'll get back to the Killer Kelly thing in just a second. But as far as Josh, is Ace where you want them to go, or is that where you think they go?
I feel like if I'm picking like big names, because it's Bound for Glory, you want to have a match that you know is going to blow the roof off. Ace Austin or Jay Briscoe. I mean, those are the two. Those are the two people that I can think right now, Santana's out because he has an ACL injury, I'm pretty sure. So I don't think he's coming back. He'll be there fast enough. The only other person would maybe be Eddie Edwards with Honor No More, but I feel like I like Eddie. I would have no problem with Eddie becoming champion.
Oh, no.
But I don't know if I want him and Josh at Bound for Glory. Like, Bound for Glory to me needs to be a holy crap type main event match in terms of like build an in-ring and potential. And I don't know if Eddie's great, but I feel like he's kind of I've seen this already kind of thing. Yeah.
So I'm with you and you're in the right direction. I think it makes the most sense with Eddie. The Kingdom idea, makes a lot of sense with Eddie as being a part of that. But what I actually hope happens is that Honor No More implodes before that. I love Jay Briscoe versus Josh. I've talked about that, clamor for that for quite a bit. You don't know if he's signing. You don't know if what's the case. Yeah. If when they come back, Mark's obviously going to be healed, so you don't really go the singles route. I think Matt Taven is the go.
Really?
And I wouldn't have said this before he came in. It's not something I would have thought about, but this guy's got it. Whatever it is, he has it. Can he be refined? Is there some things that, sure, I got you. And I would have agreed with you wholeheartedly prior to him coming into Impact. I'm going to be honest, but seeing his work, and your eye being drawn on as far as in every segment. And if Impact is in Boston for Bound for Glory, which I think is more the shoot. I don't think it's New York City. They'll be in Philly, which we'll be there. Well, I hope you'll be there. I'll be there for sure. For Philly at the end there. So I imagine they stay Northeast. Could be New York again. Hope it's not Melrose. That was an experience, but fun nonetheless. I hope it's in Boston or that area, and I think that being his hometown, you give him the gold. And the problem we have with Impact, that people have with Impact a lot, the main event, who's other than Josh? Moose is doing this, Sammy's doing this, Eddie and Eric is the same thing. If this dude already knows, like, I got a t-shirt with these dudes, I like them, they believe in me, I believe in this, fuck everybody else because they obviously don't giving me a shot. They've tried ROH thing. What's he going to go in there and just like the Briscoes and lose for a fucking pay-per-view? He's got the ability to be champion here. And I think if that's the problem, you create a star Bound for Glory series or not, which would be interesting. Put Eddie and him both in the Bound for Glory series. It takes care of that. But him in Boston, that gives Josh a foe for, they're both young in wrestling terms. So, I don't know, man. I wouldn't say that prior, but I think that would be...
That'd be interesting. That would be really, really interesting to have Matt Taven there. We'll see. I would like to see him... I would like to see the Kingdom stay together as a tag team.
Yeah, of course.
But if that's not what they want... I don't have a problem with tag teams doing their own thing for a period,
right,
as long as they're not tag team champions. Yeah. I don't want to see the tag team champions go after one of them, be like, forget this, I'm going to go after a world heavyweight like that. I don't like, but I think that I would like to see Honor No More stay together.
I know.
I would just like to see them kick Eddie out.
Yeah.
If anything, like I want Taven and King and Bennett and Vincent and Maria to remain a group. Right. I like them as a faction.
I would take PCO and Vincent out. They're viable characters on their own. I think you rock with the other group as the Kingdom until it implodes. I like Kenny King with them, as you said, with Bennett, Maria, and Taven, and Eddie. So I think that works. And then eventually you can have the whatever. I think the easy booking is Eddie wins that, the Kingdom can win the tag, right? That's full circle for the.
Yeah.
I want to move forward, and I love Eddie.
I'd be okay with that. I would be okay with Bennett, Taven, Maria, and Kenny King. because like there's no reason for Kenny King to turn on them. Kenny King goes after the X Division,
Right.
goes after the DMC,
Right.
whatever. He teams with Bennett as like they become the Kingdom.
Right.
Like
I mean, there's a lot of options.
That would be a good grouping. Those four would be a good grouping, and I think you could do different things. You could have, like you said, Taven be a world champion, and Bennett and Kenny go for the tag titles, or things can all like rotate within themselves really well.
Well, I think the key for me though, and I like once again, I love Eddie. I hope he does. It would make sense for him to get a run as champion with this group, and the Kingdom doing whatever as well. But the hell is that cat? But if Josh is your guy, right, which he is the face of the company right now. And he's someone they built up for the moment. He won his belt. He cashed in. All that stuff. Who takes it off of him? You don't want to give it a veteran. I don't like the idea of a veteran taking it off of him.
No, I agree. Let me look at something.
Yeah,
real
go
quick.
ahead.
Let's figure out.
Because I think the money is Ace. That's another star maker. I see people saying it might be Baltimore, so the Boston thing has nothing. It might not even play. Critical Stink.
I mean, if they're in Baltimore, they could just roll down to Old Dominion and have a Bound for Glory there.
Taven for a title push, yes. As soon as Bound for Glory, I don't know about that. Yeah, I know. It's a little bit of a reach, but my point is if Josh is going to lose this, now it doesn't mean he's going to lose it Bound for Glory, but I think you have an opportunity to make another main eventer on that night. You do so.
Yeah,
and if that's Ace,
so he's been
Ace.
champion for 84 days.
Who?
So, Josh. So not a huge. That's what I wanted to check. I wanted to see, like, how long he had been champion, and then Bound for Glory is in October. So
another 2 months.
Yeah, so August. So it's usually, I don't know if they have an official date. I haven't looked. October 23rd is what it was. So we'll call it end of October. So we'll say another one. So August, September. So another 3 months. So another 90-ish days. So you put him well over 100. That would be an okay time for him to lose it. I don't think it's a solid reign time. You're well over over 150 days. So it's definitely a possibility. Like Bound for Glory is a good spot where he could lose it or he could keep it. So I think that adds to the intrigue when you look at it. Like if
and that's the thing. Does he have to lose it? No. I don't think I don't think he has to, but Bound for Glory we've always said it. Slammiversary always feels bigger. All these other shows feel bigger. I think for Bound for Glory to be end on a high note, you kind of have to make another star, I think. And if Josh loses and you have that new star, say it's Ace, say it's Taven, whoever it is, right? Look at the people that now we're saying, oh man, there's no depth in the heavyweight or world title picture. Look at it now. Who's gunning for it? Josh, Moose, Sammy, insert who, Macklin, whoever.
Based off that Sammy and Macklin feud, that could elevate Macklin up there. So no, I agree with you. I think creating a new star would be a really smart way to go about it, and I do agree with you. Slammiversary always feels like the big one, but it would be interesting for Bound for Glory to end with him losing, whoever it is that wins it, as long as it's someone new. You kind of launch into your next year,
right?
Similar to how this is the year of blank. I think that's a really smart thing to do, and that's what I want to say. I want to see how long he had been champion, because I never like fast turn. I don't like a guy. Oh, he's been champion for 35 days, and then so this is a good enough time for him.
Well, what I think they've done here though is they've given him. I always say it, man. Obviously, Angry Josh is better Josh, because a face I'm gonna take on everybody is. You can only do so much with that. Obviously, Bailey's doing that now as well. So they're letting Josh put in the work in these matches. I mean, he's going through the roster. So when he does lose, it's not like, oh, Josh was screwed. He might get screwed in the story, but it won't be in real life.
It is. It's 4, and we've talked about this, 4 faces. The biggest thing is the chase to the title.
Yep.
4 heels it's usually their reign as champion.
Yeah.
With some small differences. So I agree. I think him going in there, be a fighting champion, face off against Motor City Machine Gun A, Motor City Machine Gun B,
Yeah.
and then kind of he'll have that. I think that'll be a good way for him to.
I think the Bound for Glory series should happen, but if it doesn't, I'm not going to be upset. But I think this would be the time to try to elevate multiple people at the same time. And the Bound for Glory series makes things make sense without having to have them be, oh, you stole my girlfriend or whatever the fuck things. Like there doesn't need to be storyline.
If you wanna create cracks in Honor No More, Taven wins the Bound for Glory series, wins the title, and then it's like, well, I'm not the leader of Honor No More, but I've got the title. Like, what?
Do we really
and then
need this guy?
Kind of, yeah. Then you lead to Eddie getting upset, and them,
And that's what our buddy Millard here, so Parkside 7 said, Max, if they kick out Eddie eventually, maybe Eddie could go back with Davey, reform the Wolves, and then you have the Wolves versus the Kingdom. So, yeah, man, I think there's a lot of play there. I see he also said there's a lot of unsigned wrestlers saying very complimentary things about Impact. Yeah, man, the long game for them is to bank on their creative team, and they're doing that. And then they're building these new talents to be when we finally do get that Christian-like signing, that Angle-like signing that boosts us to the next level or spotlight. We're already ready. Our depth is established, and it feels like what we always talked about, which is Attitude Era. Every segment has a star in it. But I do want to speak something to creative. I don't want to ignore his other thing real quick before we get out of here. But he mentioned Kelly as a character, not just doing that MMA wrestler thing. They're giving him these kind of cool vignettes. I really dig them. I'm trying to read what else. Oh, is that it? Just he likes it? Yeah, all right. Well, they like it. I do too, man. It's not just I'm going to come and beat you up. I'm a former MMA wrestler, MMA fighter / whatever. So I dig that, and it's not just. Once again, this is Impact showcasing how, she has some buzz on the indies. Unfortunately, she's been out of the game for a bit, kind of taking a breather. She was signed with Impact for 2 years. We haven't seen her, so that kind of gives you an example. And this is what we can do with you. So that I don't want to say bottom tier because that's horrible, but that indie level character who maybe isn't known to the masses, they know Impact will take care of them.
I mean, you look at what Impact has done, and it kind of is the company that launches people.
Oh, for sure.
Like AJ, granted, you can argue his work in New Japan, but he got to New Japan because of what he did in Impact. Right. Drew Galloway was in Impact, and then Bobby Lashley was ECW champion, nothing, and then became a main eventer in Impact. Samoa Joe, Impact. Santana and Ortiz were, I mean, I can't be 100% sure, but were probably signed by AEW because of their work in Impact. So fair. I think it makes sense to be complimentary of Impact because you understand this is a place where I can go, I can showcase what I do, and I can develop a little bit more and not just be indie wrestler guy. I can build up a character, and Impact seems okay with bringing people in for short runs and then letting them go do stuff and bringing them back. So I think that's another smart way. So.
Yeah, and it's, once again, pro wrestling, but I believe 9 out of 10 promotions, it signs a Killer Kelly. She comes in as MMA wrestler or fighter person. And yes, it's already there. It's part of her shtick, but why not give an extra layer? Give it some depth so she has something else to fall back on. And I think they did a fantastic job in reintroducing her to the wrestling world, I guess.
Yeah, we've seen that gimmick a bunch. Yeah. It's kind of been the go-to I'm a badass character, kind of is that MMA style fighter is kind of what shows go to. So it's nice that they're like, hey, let's try something different.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Steve Macklin's stock is way up because of Impact. Yeah, for sure. I mean, look, I know I just went on about him, but look at Taven even. His stock was pretty damn high with ROH and other fans that, I just obviously wasn't into it at that time. But now getting a spotlight here to re-showcase or to show what he actually is about and how many more fans does he have? So the narrative of you're not gonna get eyes in Impact, or it's people still watch it, people still fuck with it. They might not be able to say it out loud for some reason, but the money's in there somewhere.
The individual YouTube matches get good views. Deanna's another one. Yeah, she was really nothing. I mean, I think that was more to WWE's detriment, but she was just kind of meh in WWE. And
let's make a mention of that. Most of the meh is because of where they were as well. Impact's a miracle work, but not that kind. They have the talent. It's just...
Yeah. They aren't taking bums off the street and turn them into gold. It's people who they see that these people are diamonds, and then like, hey, let's come in and polish you up.
All right, that was, yeah, man. What a good way to end that one. This is the end. I know it says next up is the Impact Zone, but it is not. I apologize for the lack of head up. We're kind of just going with the flow here, making it work, and hopefully producing some fun content and a lot more content coming out. But we appreciate you guys. We love you. This chat has been blowing up, and we love everyone that's in there. Everyone that's watched, liked, commented, shat on us or not. We appreciate you. We really do. Like, once again, this is two friends having a talk about Impact Wrestling. It'll be soon a lot more of two friends talking about something. And I implore you guys to do more of it. Okay? It doesn't always have to be about the numbers. Doesn't always have to be about getting your shine. Sometimes it's about just living in the moment and having a good time. And that's something separate career and thing. It's something we all got to learn. But it was a pleasure, Max. It was fun. I'm excited to continue to do this.
As am I.
What do you... well, obviously, let me run down that really quick before I ask you. We have Diener versus Bayley for the X Division title this coming Thursday. Deanna and Chelsea both coming off of... well, Deanna, I think, lost, but still big high-profile matches. And
we'll call it a win for the purpose of...
mental win. And then versus Mia and Jordan. So I always like that, man. We have a lot of time before Emergence. They're building to the World Championship match, putting them as a tag team, slowly see where that crack develops. And then, of course, we have the #1 contendership match, Sabin versus Shelley. And I'm guessing Kushida comes this episode? I don't know.
I would hope so. I think the Sabin versus Shelley is going to be the best match. I'm super excited about that one. But I'm really excited to see what happens with the Deanna and Mia. Or not Deanna, the Jordan and Mia, the split. Because I have a feeling there's going to be something that's going to cause them to lose. And I'm interested to see how that builds. Well,
that's actually a good question to have. We have a little bit of time. We're not doing the Impact Zone. The Mia thing, do you want it to go that traditional route of there's a crack, now there's a blood feud? Does that make someone a heel, right? How do you...
I mean, I don't think there has to be like a blood feud, but I just think them not being a tag team
dissension
causes an issue. Yeah, causes an issue. And then you just get like a square off. Like, look, like who gives a shit about this match? Like, I'm coming for your title. Like, it doesn't have to be anybody be a heel, but just like some type of unfamiliarity between the two of them causes
for them to lose.
Yeah. So it gives Deanna and Chelsea a win, and then just continues to push towards Emergence.
Yeah, I think dissension is the wrong term. I just mean like some kind of a mess up in between there, a little bit of miscommunication. No, I would like to keep both of them in a face realm. I think they will, but it makes the most sense for Deanna and Chelsea to get the dub here.
Now, Mia? Yeah, maybe she was part of that crappy group. Was she ever part of whatever Eric Young built in WWE?
No. Sanity.
Sanity was
no.
That was
she was part of Dollhouse.
She was part of something else where she wore a mask in
Retribution.
WWE.
Yeah.
Is that what it's called? I can't remember. They repackaged one of them as with whatever LA Knight is now.
Dude, I don't even...
Eli Drake. I just know he repackaged one of them into something, but I couldn't remember. She was in Retribution.
Yeah, I believe it was her and Mercedes Martinez and somebody else. I forgot who the other person was.
I don't know. T-Bar, Jackknife, and something.
And what were the two animals from Turtles too? Razor and
Bebop and Rocksteady.
No, not Bebop. Oh yeah, them too. Yeah.
They were probably in it too. Who knows?
Oh shit! Fake Antifa. Jesus Christ.
Fake. I mean, yeah.
Oh, guys, all right. Thanks for rocking with us for 100 episodes. Here's to 100 more, man. Every Sunday, 8 p.m. live. We'll be back in the groove doing this, man. The Impact Zone, like I said, won't be airing tonight, but it will be a segment. I think we nailed it. We're going to try it right here. Toka and Razor. Thanks for Matt.
No, those are the dudes from AOP, right? Toka and Razor, wasn't that who they were?
That's fair. Let's see if this works just for shits and gigs. Hey, it works. All right.
Hey, there we are.
The Impact Zone will be a segment once a month we're going to do. It'll be an hour and a half episode, whatever. We'll go a little bit over, talk about it, and kind of update us where we're at. And it could make a return as a full thing, but at least you'll get your 30-minute episode with it. It's not going to be a dime.
Because let's be realistic, our top 25 didn't change that much every week. So we kind of started... We were originally like, this top 25 thing's going to be great. And then we're like...
It's a lot of work.
People don't get signed fast enough for us to be changing.
Well, that too.
It was great when WWE was releasing like 20 people a week. Yeah. We're like, man, this thing is, we can do this top 25. But
when you're in the when you're in the I'm waiting for people to lose their job business, it's
exactly. Yeah, well, wait a second.
We're just stretching this.
Horrible. This isn't. Yeah, we kind of like this isn't as good.
Oh man.
Once a month gives us timing.
Oh god, that's good shit. But yeah, guys, once again, we'll be working on the lag. We'll be working on everything, but the most important is we're working together on the show, which I'm really stoked about. You know what to do. Get those numbers up, one fan at a time, one friend at a time. We really mean that. Obviously, that means we lost a lot of friends along the way. But I understand. But we'll build this community together as we've always tried to. And have a good time doing so. So yeah, make sure you support all the other shows and talented people on there. I don't know if Craig will announce it this week, but he has a new show that will be on the channel come August. I'm really stoked about it. I hope he lets me have a guest spot on it because yeah, I won't spoil it. And then of course look for talking nonsense about the New York Knicks. Max and I keeping the brand going and talk.
We'll see how long that lasts. If their season goes anything like last season, this may be a 5-episode, and we're just can't handle it anymore.
I'm all 82 since
turn into Spike Lee over here.
Since 2002, all 82. I watch every episode, every game. So at least me, I'll be on there crying or no. I expect the worst, so I'm okay.
It'll just be an hour of G just crying on the camera,
wearing a Barrett jersey with a flag. Oh shit, guys! Make it a top 15 instead of 25. Yeah, it's a good idea. You know, for us, it's just we wanted to be thorough about it, and we think there's a lot that goes into free agency, and that's what we were trying to show. Is it's not just market and name value; it's card status, it's ring work, it's mic work, it's character development, which is a big one, because that's less work Impact has to invest into somebody if they already come with something in tow. So it was just we created more work for ourselves, but I love the idea, and we'll keep it going. Max, you got anything you want to say to the people?
I know it's not Impact related, but if you go to NewJapanWorld.com, you can watch. I know at least day one of G1 Climax for free.
Ace is in that.
I'm subscribed, so I can watch all the days, but you can at least watch day one. Jonah was on the episode.
Ace, right?
So,
this is the Climax, right?
Yeah, I mean, well, he was on the episode. They had I'm trying to remember who was on there. Switchblade was there, or Sonata, but Okada. But yeah, you know, we get to see former Impact Jonah.
Yeah.
He wears a mask in New Japan, at least to the ring.
I love him, man.
I'm pretty sure it was hard for me to hear his theme, but I'm pretty sure it was the same thing because I'm pretty sure it rocked.
Yeah.
And I enjoy his theme.
I do too, man. What a banger. Hopefully he comes back for a run. Wouldn't that be cool if he came back for the main event Bound for Glory? I would be okay with that.
I'd be
okay with that.
Can you? So he finishes with G1 Climax, comes right into Bound for Glory series. Yep. It's like I got this tournament thing down packed. I'm ready to go. I learned from my mistakes.
And you can watch Jonah on Access TV right after Impact, New Japan Global. Oh man, yeah, man. Will the Knicks make the playoffs before Masha loses a match? Yes. Oh wait, no. Because the playoffs are not in October. The season's long.
Yeah, exactly. The season starts in October. Doesn't the season start in October?
Yes.
So it'll be October.
Pre-season.
So yeah. So yeah, there's no.
All right. Well, for Max, myself, and all the other maximum male models, I just saw that in the chat.
That's what what's his name's new group is. Maximum Male Models. They're.
Jalen Brunson ain't that good. No, Jalen Brunson ain't that good, but he's a point guard, and Donovan Mitchell will be here next week or two. So, RJ is someone you guys are. The media, that's another thing. Just like Impact Wrestling, the reason I want to do Knicks is because the media is so trash. It's Knicks for clicks. And I just can't stand that, man. There's another way to look at that. Jalen Brunson's good. They have a lot of other talent on there. RJ's going to be the next T-Mac. Bank it. Bank it. All right. Anyways, this isn't a wrestling show. Or this is a wrestling show. It wasn't a wrestling show for a second.
We've already changed. Just flip over the Knicks.
Oh, man. But for Toka, Razor, Mace, Maximum Male Models.
Mace, Windu, whatever else.
Sanity.
Whoever else was part of that group.
We love you guys. Thank you for rocking with us. We meet... RJ, you mean Anthony Edwards? Anthony Edwards, 6'4". Get out of here with that shit. All right, we'll talk to you guys later. Thank you for coming out. God bless you.
Later, guys.